March 2nd, 2018. This is written by Howard Baskin about me, so that's why it's in third person. Big cat rescue represented at United Nations World Wildlife Day event. Subsequent to Carole being asked to speak last year at the Jackson Hole Film Festival, where big cats were the species of discussion, Carole became one of the judges for the Big Cat Film Festival to be held in New York City on March 2nd through 3rd for World Wildlife Day. The trip included special seating at the invitation-only morning event held at the United Nations in a room just down the hall from the Security Council room. The UN event, moderated by the CITES Secretary General John Scanlon, brought together an interesting mix of conservationists, NGOs, representatives from numerous governments around the world, including a representative from the U.S. State Department, and big cat documentary filmmakers. The photo shows Howard and Carole up on the big screen, but only because we happened to be sitting behind a filmmaker who was one of the speakers. The discussion was a mix of distressing detailed statistics on habitat loss and shrinking populations, interspersed with many encouraging examples of efforts that really are working. Many of the latter are focused on reducing human versus big cat conflict caused by predator attacks on livestock. One particularly successful, very creative effort has been the establishment of the Maasai Olympics as a way for Maasai warriors to compete and enter manhood instead of the traditional killing of lions. Another example was improved management of large parks, where reintroduction of big cat species that had disappeared had turned them into successful ecotourism enterprises. The one theme running through so many of the positive examples was the necessity to enlist buy-in and cooperation from the local residents in the solutions. At the end of the session, we had the opportunity to speak privately, briefly, with the U.S. representative. We brought up how the Chinese were pointing to the rampant breeding and lack of tracking of tigers in this country as a way to damage the credibility of the State Department in its efforts to urge other countries to stop the sale of tiger parts and products made from tiger parts. We explained that our small organization attended for the first time the most recent CITES meeting in South Africa and was one of the organizations sponsoring the Tiger Side event. At that side event, which was specifically directed at tiger farming, a Chinese representative toward the end stood up and shouted, "At least we know where our tigers are." The representative was very frank that while he was asked to come make the prepared remarks for the meeting, this was not his expertise, but promised he would introduce us to the people in the State Department who dealt with this issue more directly. True to his word, before the day was out, we received an email from him with those contacts. A few days later, we had a fascinating hour-long conference call with his colleagues and agreed to a follow-up that we are very excited about. If you're enjoying my diary, please like, share, and subscribe. You can find other ways to connect to me over at bigcatrescue.org/Carole.Baskin.